We have three new revelations in regards to Destiny 2 that just happened today. So let's break them all down. The first is that on the Steam charts, Destiny 2 has dropped out of being one of the top 100 games over the last 30 days. I believe this is the first time this has ever happened. I haven't been keeping tabs on Destiny 2's status.
Oh, really?
In regards to its Steam population, but obviously when you look at the charts from Popularity Report, you can see it's not very good. So it falling now below the top 100 status is definitely alarming. But let's put this into context so we can better understand this, because falling outside of the top 100 may seem really bad, but obviously Destiny 2 has had its highs and its lows. I mean, currently right now we're getting beat out by a game called Banana. Like literally, Banana has twice the population as us. What the hell is even that? That aside though, Destiny 2 actually went to Steam in 2019. And after it went to Steam, it actually received the Platinum Reward for being one of the best-selling games on Steam in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. So Destiny 2 has been absolutely killing it for many, many years. It has been literally a platinum ranking game on Steam, one of the highest grossing games there is. And you might think that's pretty odd, especially when you look at like the population and how Destiny 2, it's not as popular as maybe some other games out there. Apparently not as popular as Banana, but even still with its lack of popularity, Bungie really understands how to monetize this game and this community, because to be a platinum selling game for 5 consecutive years is incredible. This is truly an incredible accomplishment, and this is something that we have commended Bungie for year after year. Regardless of the outcome of any expansion, Bungie continues to be a very high grossing game on Steam. But that does seem like it might be coming to an end, especially as we look at its, outside the top 100 status. Maybe Bungie can still pull in the revenue from all of those microtransactions inside Eververse. Maybe they're making a ton of money from Destiny Rising and royalties from that possibly. And who knows? I mean, we're not here to discuss really Bungie's finances, but more just Destiny 2's status. Because like I said, there's 3 big stories. The first is that Destiny 2 is outside the top 100. And the second is that it is a platinum selling game and has been for the last 5 years, which is really alarming for a platinum selling game to be outside the top 100. That is definitely an anomaly. And the last bit here is that Steam has just now hit a new record player peak today. Yes, you heard me right. The platform Steam has the most gamers playing on it today than ever before in all of gaming history. 41 million players on Steam right now. Now, why is this important to talk about in regards to the context of Destiny 2? Well, I would argue that this shows that gaming in general is trending upwards and upwards. More people are gaming now than ever before. And yet for some crazy reason, Destiny 2 is trending downwards. Fewer and fewer people are playing Destiny 2 now than ever before, which in my opinion is extremely alarming, because what I wanted to say previously when we looked at Popularity Report's website was that, gaming in general has its peaks and valleys. There's certain times when new games come out and they really capture everyone's attention. I'm thinking about games like Fortnite really got everyone into that game for a period of time. Games like Pokemon Go, games like Minecraft, even when they first came out, and they're still extremely popular, don't get me wrong, but like Minecraft when it was in its like first few early years was just, so popular. Call of Duty as well. There's lots of games that you could throw up in there that have so much popularity, they create almost like a vacuum. Everyone jumps in and plays those. And obviously that's going to affect Destiny 2 to a certain degree. And perhaps that could be a contributing factor to why Edge of Fate is maybe not holding as many players as it does usually. Maybe other games are doing a lot better. Or perhaps there is a theory that maybe less people are gaming in general, but we just found out today that that is absolutely not the case. There are not fewer people gaming today than there were yesterday, a year ago, or 10 years ago. There are more people gaming today now than ever before in the entire history of gaming, or at least according to Steam's charts. Now, obviously, Steam isn't representative of every gamer that's ever gamed, but I do think that this is very indicative of where the trend is heading. Gaming isn't dying by any means. It's just become such a big juggernaut in the entertainment space that there are countless multi-billion-dollar corporations that will sling out as much money and build as crazy studios as possible to continue their domination, right? And Bungie is not a part of that. Bungie is a part of Sony, and Sony, don't get me wrong, they're not like nobody necessarily, but They're not the biggest player in the space, I would say. But let me know what you think about this. How do you feel about Steam hitting a new peak player count, meaning more people are on Steam than ever before, while simultaneously on the exact same day, at the exact same time, fewer people are playing Destiny than ever before? Especially when we look at Destiny 2 Steam charts, 20,000 people are on Destiny 2, and you're telling me that there's currently 41 million people online. 41,600,000 people chose to play other games today, and 20,000 people decided to log in and play Destiny 2. That shows you just how massive gaming is in general. Like, in Destiny 2 is not completely dead by any means. You could log in right now, I did earlier, and I could play Trials of Osiris, and I can find matches and load into games in the portal and match with people. Like, there's definitely people online, don't get me wrong. Even popularity report shows that there's, over 200,000, sometimes maybe up to 300,000 people online right now, which is still incredible, right? It's incredible that Destiny's lowest point is like 300, 200K, mid 200,000s people online right now. But it is showing a potentially alarming trend, which is that gaming has grown and is continuing to grow, but Bungie is not growing. And Destiny 2 as a franchise is not growing. It's shrinking. They've obviously lost a ton of devs, and that makes it so much harder to move forward. And I try to give Bungie as much grace as possible and understanding that, trying to do what Bungie did here in Beyond Light with half as many devs it's just unreasonable, right? Like, they're just not going to be able to pull it off unless they have like some crazy AI tools, But I don't think that's happening right now. I don't think Bungie's going to just start AI generating planets in Destiny 2. But without some insane AI tools, having half as many devs is going to equal significantly less content. It's an unfortunate byproduct and a reality that we have to now live in. But at the time we're in right now, in this moment in gaming, it is imperative for your game to be growing. I mean, Steam is growing, gaming is growing. There's more games now than ever before, and it is becoming even more and more and more competitive to be a company in this space, let alone to be a franchise and to be a game and have your own unique IP. It is significantly more competitive now than we are right here than it is all of these years ago. And to be fair, that's in part why you see so much more success, because it's easier to be more successful when there's a smaller pool of competition. When you have a massive global competition with multi-billion-dollar companies, it's going to get harder year after year after year unless you're continuing to grow and grow and grow. Unless you're hiring more devs and you're scaling upwards and you're expanding operations and opening new headquarters and new locations and new studios, and creating spin-off games of spin-off games and keeping the momentum moving forward. If you don't keep the momentum moving forward, you are going to get absolutely crushed by the pressure, because multi-billion-dollar companies are looking at graphs like this and drooling, thinking, okay, how can we steal this from them? How can we make a game that kills Destiny 2? How can we make a game that shuts their servers off and takes their whole audience over here? That's just competition. That's just capitalism. That's how these other companies look at it. And unfortunately, with all the pressure and everything that's happened, we are dwindling right now, not just in popularity in terms of people logging online, but in player sentiment. The Destiny 2 Edge of Fate reviews right now are still overwhelmingly negative, with 3% positive reviews in the last 30 days. I don't even know if it can get worse than that, because the reality is there are definitely going to be some people that log in and give it a positive review. Like, they're going to log in, they're going to play, and they're going to have fun. But this deters a lot of new people from coming to the game, that's for sure. And when we look at the graph of new people coming to the game, you can see there's been a ton of really red hot moments here. Like, the Red War campaign brought in a ton of new players, and obviously that's the launch of Destiny 2. We would likely see numbers like this if we did launch a Destiny 3. Like, I would at least hope that there'd be a ton of new people trying the game. And you can see a trend where, there are periods of time here, during Season of the Drifter, where there was significantly fewer new people jumping into the game. This might be due to a variety of different factors, maybe marketing. There's a lot of nuance to this, right? But one thing we are seeing is that we're seeing the gradient of color go down and get darker and darker to where we're at now, where we have episode Revenant, we have episode Heresy, and we have episode or season of Reclamation. There's a lot of blue. There's still new players coming in. You can see 7,000 new players this day. You scroll over here, 6,000 new players. Still lots of new players coming in. It's not like there's no one playing Destiny 2. There's just significantly fewer than it was originally, and those players are seemingly not staying around as long as we see the graph of the population dwindle further and further. But will it reach a level of sustainability? Will we just level out at a cool, 20,000, 15,000, maybe even 10,000 players? It sounds pathetic, that Destiny 2 would only have 10,000 players on Steam every day. But it's possible, right? It's possible that Destiny 2 only ever has 10,000 players on Steam, that Bungie has another round of layoffs, and there's just 300 devs working on this small indie project now. It's just a small game. It doesn't have nearly as many updates. It doesn't get nearly as many raids or expansions or dungeons as we used to, but it still continues on and on and on. That is a possibility for the future. But the reason why we're advocating and we're talking about this topic so much is because we genuinely don't want that for the game. Like, if you've been playing the game, you know that jumping into a new raid is awesome, new dungeons, new content is always the best experience. And so having, a period of time where we got 2 raids and 2 dungeons be reduced to 1 raid and 1 dungeon, and maybe even fewer than that in the future, is not especially appealing to me as a veteran player. I want more Destiny 2, of course. I'm always going to be a big advocate for the game to improve, for the game to get bigger and better. And I do think it is imperative for this game to thrive, because we are in a very, very competitive market right now. Destiny 2 doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It has to wake up every day and compete with massive juggernauts. And I'm not just talking about banana here. Like, look at the numbers for Counter-Strike 2. Current players online in Counter-Strike 2, 1.1 million. Think about the difference in population from a game like Counter-Strike 2 to Destiny 2. Look at its all-time population chart as well. Counter-Strike 2, now obviously it may be unfair to compare to literally the best game on Steam, but I would also argue that it is fair, because people can either choose every day to wake up, launch Steam, and launch Counter-Strike 2, or they can launch Destiny 2. So it is their competition to a certain degree, because the games that thrive will continue to grow and get new content and expand and have sequels. Like, it wasn't too long ago that there wasn't a Counter-Strike 2, there was just Counter-Strike, and then they made Counter-Strike 2. And in the future, they'll probably make a Counter-Strike 3. Look at the chart of this game's population. It just goes up and up and up. I mean, in February 2016, you got 850,000 players online. This is incredible. And then it plateaus for a period of time, but then it comes back and it's going up and up again. You've got 2020, so this is like peak COVID. Everyone is inside online gaming, and guess what game they're playing? Counter-Strike. And then it just goes from there, up and up and up. It has little valleys, but oh my gosh, it just absolutely blows up here in 2023. I think this might have been the launch of Counter-Strike 2. I'm not sure. I'm not very familiar with this game, but you can see here, it just keeps trending upwards and upwards and upwards and on. Now it's maintaining over 1 million players every single day. And this game is significantly contributing to Steam's massive success, pulling in 41 million players, reaching its 24-hour peak and highest all-time peak. I'm not saying that Counter-Strike is the Destiny 2 killer. What I'm saying is that in a highly competitive market where games that thrive this much and make billions and billions of dollars every year, it is very difficult to compete against. If you have any knowledge or experience in business, you'll know how difficult it will be to compete when there's competition in the same space that is literally crushing it. Like, how do you compete against others that are making billions of dollars when arguably Destiny 2, I don't know what their finances are, but I think it's safe to say that they're probably in the red, right? They just had 2 rounds of layoffs. You don't have layoffs unless you're in the red, unless your ROI is terrible. That was during the final shape. And now we're seeing significantly lower population numbers, and I'm sure that there is a correlation between the population numbers and Bungie's revenue. To think that the two are completely separate from each other would be ridiculous, because it's only from each and every one of these individual players that you can make money, right? This day in Beyond Light, there was 1.2 million people inside Destiny 2, and out of those 1.2 million, maybe a certain percentage of them bought a microtransaction, which is great. But now, if I go to any random day in Edge of Fate, there's 438,000 people online on August 31st, which is about a third of as many people online, which means you're probably going to get a third of the microtransactions. And let's just say that Bungie has cooked up some crazy strategy, that they're galaxy brain, that they know everything about microtransactions, that they got it locked in with Eververse, and they are recouping the highest ROI per individual player of any game on Steam. Even though they have a fraction of the money that CSGO does, right? A fraction of the population CSGO does, they're recouping significantly more money per each player, right? So let's say like every person on CSGO spends, let's just make up a number, $100 a month in microtransactions or something, right? That's probably not the case. It's probably much less than that, but let's just say that was the case. Well, let's say that Bungie has a much better strategy and they're pulling $500 a month from every player, which again is not the case. It's just numbers, right? That is probably not sustainable forever. there's probably a certain limit where like you're only going to get so many people paying so much more money than the average gamer does for so long. Surely we're not going to be able to live off of Eververse and its heavy microtransactions forever. Like, we need the game to sell. We need people to buy things other than microtransactions. We need more players to come to this game, purchase these annual passes and expansions, right? Like, it doesn't even need to be said that like Final Shape launched with 1.8 million people. Now, obviously not everyone logged in on the first day maybe, but most people probably logged in the first day, which means it probably sold roughly around that amount, right? Well, then Edge of Fate certainly sold less. I'm going to say this again because I mentioned it in my last video. I am by no means an expert on statistical analysis or statistical inference, but I don't need to be because I know what the community is saying. I browse Reddit, I browse Twitter, and I browse the comments on my YouTube channel and Twitch. I'm more connected to the audience and to the Destiny 2 community than most people because it's literally my job. And very few people are happy right now. If you're living under a rock and you think everything's going good, just take a minute to look around. And as the saying goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. And that's where we're at right now. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below.